Namaste, welcome back to our English class. Guys, today I'm going to talk about two stories mentioned in our supplementary reader, that is The Open Window and Jalebi. Actually, I'm not going to read these two stories and give you line by line explanation because your supplementary reader, it so happened, is exclusively for you people. So you people should read these two stories very well and try to understand the summary of these stories. And I will give you some of the hints or points regarding these two stories. So shall we start? Yes.
Before reading the story Jalebi, just create your own story based on the hints given here. Just pause the video and copy these points in your notebook. Then develop a new story with your imagination. After completing the story, read the story Jalebi mentioned in our supplementary reader. The hints are: small schoolboy Munna have rupees 4 for paying fees, class teacher on leave, not pay fees, return back to home, saw jalebi shop, tempted to eat, thought about scholarship amount would get next week, buy jalebi using fees, pay fees using scholarship, bought jalebi, ate a lot, distribute to friends and beggars, didn't get the scholarship, cut the class, went to railway station, stayed there till evening, repeat the same, caught by parents, learn a lesson. So, based on these hints, develop a beautiful story with your imagination. After that, read the story Jalebi mentioned in our supplementary reader. Next, let's look a short summary of the chapter The Open. The story is about Frampton Nuttall, who is suffering from nervousness. He goes to the countryside for his treatment. As he did not know anybody there, his sister gave him letters of introduction. He goes to visit Mrs. Sappleton, where he meets Vera. Vera tells him about a tragic incident in which Mrs. Sappleton lost her husband and her two brothers. She also tells him that her aunt still hopes that they will come back and therefore keeps the window open. Mrs. Sappleton also told him that she is waiting for them to return. Suddenly, he saw the three figures coming through the window. He thinks that they are ghosts and rushes out of there. Vera tells everyone that he went away as he was very scared of dogs. So this is the short summary of the story The Open Window. Next, let's watch a short film based on this story.
My aunt will be down presently, Mr. Nuttall. In the meantime, you must try and put up with me.
It is very kind of you to wait with me. your aunt, Mrs. Sappleton. I'm looking forward to meeting her, I'm sure.
Do you know many of the people around here?
Hardly a soul, I'm afraid. My sister stayed at the rectory 4 years ago, and she's given me some letters of introduction.
Oh.
Oh?
Then you know practically nothing about my aunt?
I know her name and address.
Her great tragedy happened just 3 years ago. That would be after your sister's time.
Her tragedy?
You may wonder why we keep these French doors open on such a cold afternoon.
It is quite warm for the time of year.
Out through those doors, 3 years ago to a day, my aunt's husband and her 2 sons went off for their day's shooting. They never came back. Crossing the moor to their favourite snipe shooting ground, all 3 were engulfed in a treacherous piece of bog. Their bodies were never recovered. That was the awful part of it. No grave, no marker. Poor aunt thinks that they will come back someday. They and a little brown Labrador that was lost with them, and walk in as they used to. She spends hours sitting, waiting, watching through the open doors. She won't allow them to be shut until it's dark outside. Oh, I'm sorry. Do sit down, Mr. Nuttall. That was done shortly before they... Poor dear aunt. She's often told me of how they went out. Her husband with his waterproof coat over his arm, and Ronnie, her eldest son, teasing her. The tea'd better be ready when we return, Mamma, else there'll be hell to pay. Do you know? Sometimes, on still, quiet evenings like this, I almost get a feeling that they will all just walk in through those doors.
I'm terribly sorry for keeping you waiting, Mr. Nuttall. I hope Vera has been amusing you.
She has been very interesting.
Oh, I hope you don't mind the French doors. My husband and my sons will be home directly from shooting, and they always come in this way. Well, they've been out for snipe in the marshes today, so they'll make a fine mess of my carpets. Typical of you menfolk, isn't it?
They're calling it nervous exhaustion. It's in the family. As you know, my sister...
Is the tea ready? Make sure it is. I seem to remember your sister. Yes. Sweet lady. Yes, your sort don't come down so much anymore. I hope your stay will be peaceful. Are you a shooting man, Mr. Nuttall? Milk?
Just a little.
It hasn't been the same these last few years. The rain and the mud, you see. It's made an infernal quagmire of the marshes.
The doctors agree in ordering me complete rest. An absence of mental excitement. And anything in the nature of violent physical exercise. On the subject of diet, though, they're not in such agreement.
No. Oh, here they are at last. And don't they look as if they're muddy up to the eyes?
Better be ready, Mama.
Oh, you're covered in mud.
Oh, fairly muddy, my dear, but most of it's dry. They'll need to get used to it if we go to war.
Oh, please, let's not talk about that.
We'll be home by Christmas, you'll see. Check.
Who was that who bolted out as we came up?
The most extraordinary man, a Mr. Nuttall. He talked about nothing but his illnesses, and then he dashed off without a word of goodbye or apology when you came in.
I expect it was the Labrador. He told me he had a horror of dogs. He was once hunted into a cemetery on the banks of the Ganges by a pack of pariah dogs and had to spend the night in a newly dug grave with the creatures snarling and grinning and foaming just above him. Enough to make anyone lose their nerve, I dare say.
So guys, I hope you all understood these two stories very well. So thank you guys. See you in the next class.